No, not quite yet. Just a minute. Okay. You're a little far back. You're almost to the wall. It's like you're avoiding this. So, is she good? Okay, you can push record now.
Yeah, I pushed out.
Okay. She's managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everyone, my name is Dina.
Hi Dina.
Today I'm going to talk about very important meaning of family. What is family? The definition of family, the most common definition is usually anyone who's related by blood to us, that's family. But I think there's much more to family than this. So the movie I'm about to share today is talking about the importance of family and the more extended definition of it. It's Miss Doubtfire. Has anyone seen it before? It's a really good movie. So to begin with, this movie made me feel upset, happy, and grateful. A man getting disguised into a nanny costume just to be with his kids. It sounds crazy, but he actually did it just to be with his kids, and I think this is awesome. So the first part is that this movie made me upset when Miranda filed divorce against Danny and wouldn't let him see his kids. This reminded me back home when we used to have a puppy for quite a few days, but my mom wouldn't let me keep it for more. So we had to let go of the puppy. It was kind of sad. He only chose 3 slippers, it was only 3, but but we had to let him go. So yeah, it's hard letting go of your puppy, even though it only stayed with us for a few days. Moving on to the happy part. This movie made me happy when Daniel tried to cook for his kids, but he actually set his costume on fire. This reminded me of the story when I was very young. I entered the kitchen and there was really this really hot pot on the kitchen. My mom said, "Dina, don't touch this." Of course, the rebellious side in me, I touched it, and then I kind of burned my finger. 1 minute later, my sister repeated the same scene. I think it's something that runs in the family, I'm not sure. So the lesson is, please don't touch the pot while it's hot. No, what I'm really trying to say is, mothers take care of you. They watch out for you, even though sometimes we're a little stubborn. But, and we don't take their advice sometimes, but at the end of the day, they still watch for us. That's family. The last scene made me really grateful. It was when Daniel had his puppet show. He was talking about the real definition of a family. This scene has really gotten to me. It made me think, what is family? And I concluded that family is not limited to our biological parents, siblings. It's much more than that. Family could be our friends, our neighbors. And it happens that last week, I kind of sprained my leg. So my friend woke up 8 in the morning just to walk me out to the hospital to check up on me. She wouldn't let me go on her own. She walked 13 minutes from her house to mine just to let me not go on to mine. And now I consider her family. That's the true definition of family. Well, to conclude, this movie made me upset, happy, and grateful. And there's no doubt that it really moved me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Fortunately, I didn't start the timer, but you were under the timer, so that was good. Let's start in the front row today. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Leah.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Leah.
I really liked your speech. I thought it was really organized and really easy to follow all the different ways that Mrs. Doubtfire moved you. I really liked it.
Thank you, Leah. Well organized. Improvement.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
I also really liked your speech. I thought it had a very nice structure, and you sort of wove the idea of family throughout. But I think one thing you could improve on is volume. It was a little tough to hear even in the front row, but it was overall good.
Yeah, let's start with that. It was a good speech. You chose something important to you, family. That's always good to talk about something you have a passion for and care about. So that was good. You were hard to hear even in the front row, and we're back a row today, so you really need to project. You want to fill the room with your energy when you speak. Don't be so shy and soft-spoken. Well, you started off with the definition of family, and you started off to say, well, the dictionary says it's blood, but I think it's a lot more. And then you kind of tied back to family in your definition, and you had your extended definition. So it shows that you understood the concept of the bookends, the tie back to the intro. So that was good. You chose to film Mrs. Doubtfire, and you said it made you feel upset, happy, and grateful. Where you fell down a little was talking about the film review and the significance statement. You had a very nice quote from Janice Maslin in the New York Times, one of my unfavorite newspapers. And she didn't like the movie, did she? She said this father wasn't acting in a loving way, and you said you disagreed. So remember to put that in there. And remember, in a significant statement, it's to the audience. So you want to sell it to your fellow classmates and sell it and say, I know you'll care about this movie because it deals with themes like family and love and broken families, and we all face something like that. On your first emotion, which was being upset, you talked about the filing for a divorce and couldn't see his kids. And I want to compliment you on how briefly you summarized the plot. You know, we had some people who went on for 10 minutes. We don't need that. We just need 1 or 2 sentences. So you did that well. The story you told was about your puppy. You got a puppy and your mother said, no, he chewed up the slippers, and so we have to put him out the backyard or whatever happened to him. What I think about your story, it was a good story, but it needed more details. What was the puppy's name? What kind of puppy was it? How long did you have it? How did you feel about the puppy? Did you really love it? Did you form an attachment with the puppy? Turn it more into a story, Dina. That would have made it more sticky. On your second story, you summarized and talked about Daniel disguising himself as a nanny, and it was a pretty good disguise, I thought. And then you told the story of burning yourself and getting over the stove, and your mother warned you, and then you did it again, or your sister did it again, and you had to learn the hard way. And this was all designed to talk about happy, and what I needed to have you do if you were going to talk about getting burned and being happy, you know, is to tie that back and say, well, I'm glad I had a mother there to warn me, and that made me happy, see? So tie it back that way. On your third story, Grateful, you had a good plot summary, and you talked about the fact that you were very touched that your roommate walked you to the hospital. And you were very touched by that, and you said that made her more than a friend, she's family. So that was good. What's her name? What did the doctor say about was it an ankle or something? What was the prognosis? Make it into a story, more details. Your summary was fine. Your conclusion that the film really moved you was fine, and your tie-back was fine. Your citation was in the proper form. You said you wanted to be more confident, not have your hands in your pocket, and to make eye contact with the audience. How'd it go?
I don't have any pockets.
You can enter. Tell them they can come in. Next time, come to the back door, yeah. You mistake the back door, okay. You said you wanted to be more confident, to have your hands out of your pocket, and to make eye contact with the audience. How'd it go?
I think it kind of went well. I just need to be a little more confident by raising my voice.
Yes.
And as for the pockets, I don't have any pockets today, so...
Yeah, that's good. So nowhere to hide, huh?
Exactly. And,
yeah.
The third one, I think, it was pretty good.
Yeah, don't hesitate to use your arms for gesturing. They help emphasize key points and things like that. But overall, you did a nice job, Dina. Thank you. Okay. Another film speech? No, everyone else is done theirs back there? Good. Soul Surfer, huh? Okay. She's managing attention, she's playing with her watch, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes, near the front and center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, my name is Daisy.
Hi, Daisy.
So courage doesn't mean that you don't get afraid. Courage means that you don't let fear stop you. This is a quote by Bethany Hamilton, who is a professional surfer from Kauai, Hawaii. She lost her arm during a shark attack when she was only 13 years old, but it didn't stop her from surfing. And moreover, she opened to the public and told the story about how she fought to get back to her surfboard through this movie, The Soul Surfer. Peter Ringer mentioned in his review that Hamilton's optimism, diligence, and resilience may reassure teenagers dealing with distress or life-altering events and are undeniably impressive and uplifting. I agree with his statement, and Bethany Hamilton's optimism and strength has been a source of inspiration to young people all over the world, and of course, myself included. I've been moved by this movie in many ways. The first way this film moved me was that it made me feel warm. The incident that it made me feel warm was when Bethany was still recovering in the hospital. She doubted her ability of surfing again, but her dad rubbed her head and told her that he believes that she can do all things. This incident made me feel warm was because it reminds me of my parents' belief and trust when I got my first college rejection letter. I was really upset and I thought that I would not even get into a college. But my parents didn't show any disappointment or sadness. Instead, they rubbed my head just like Bethany's dad did and told me that they believe me I can get into a good college. Both my parents' belief and trust and Bethany's dad's trust made me feel warm. The second way that this film made me move me was that it made me feel sad. The incident that this film made me feel sad was when Bethany got back home from the hospital. She tried surfing many times but always failed. She wanted to quit surfing, and since surfing was an integral part of her life, she felt lost and confused about her future and she didn't know what to do about it. This incident made me feel sad because it reminds me the period of time of my life that I felt lost and confused about my future. I didn't know what major I want to choose in college and what profession I want to take in the future. That's why I can totally understand Bethany's hopeless feelings and confusion because I completely felt the same way. The third way this film moved me was that it made me feel powerful. The incident that this film made me feel powerful was when Bethany finally decided to surf again. And right before her training, her dad warned her that it is not going to be easy. And she told her dad that she does not need easy, she only needs possible. This incident made me feel powerful because it reminds me of my volleyball practice. So when I first started playing volleyball, I had a hard time doing the upper hand service. I remember I would always go to gym, practicing upper hand service by myself, and woke up, can't even lift my arms. It is easy to give up something that you can't see it happen, but when it actually happens, all the pains and aches will disappear immediately. At the end, Bethany managed to surf again, and she is still a professional surfer today, and I no longer have trouble with upper hand service. In summary, I told you 3 ways that this film moved me. It made me feel warm, sad, and powerful. Bethany's courage is not that she's not afraid of sharks. It's that because her passion for surfing overcame her fear of sharks and kept her going. The spirit and optimism Bethany Hamilton has have given me strength and kept motivating me to going forward. She taught me that as long as we keep trying, you can do all things. Thank you.
Thank you. 4:15, perfect. What'd you like?
Yeah, I'm Alex. I won't be getting
Hi,
back today.
Alex.
Sorry. I really liked your speech. I liked how you linked every of your stories to the examples from the movie. I think they were like appropriate, and good job.
Yes, that was a good link. Improvement?
Hi, I'm Brianna.
Hi,
I
Brianna.
really liked your speech. I think the only thing you can improve on is possibly like moving your hands a little bit, not just
Right.
holding them.
You see where your hands are now?
Yeah.
That's the way they were most of your speech. And you want to use them to gesture, not hold them tight, because it creates non-verbally a sense of tension in you. Just be more relaxed and open with your arms. Daisy, I liked your speech. I liked the film that you chose. You started off with a quote of courage, and it was a good quote. When you're giving quotes, slow down a little and let the meaning fall in and sink into the audience. Don't get ahead of your message as you're speaking. Do you understand what I mean? So for quotes, slow down. Courage doesn't mean you don't get afraid. Courage means you don't let fear stop you. See? Really let the audience see the meaning. And you can do that through your own emphasis. Your thesis was fine. Your significant statement and your quote from the critic was good, and you said you agreed with it. See how you're not in the power stance now? So put your feet wider apart and practice standing more like that. I know it doesn't seem natural. A little wider. Yeah, like that. And practice standing like that. And that'll keep you from swaying too. Okay, let's talk about your storytelling and how it went. You started off with the emotion that you felt warm, and you told us a story about her relationship with her father and her discouragement in not being able to serve. And from that, you told the story of being rejected by colleges and being discouraged and thinking, oh, I'm no good, I'm not going to get into any college. And your parents or your mother, I don't remember which, was it your mother, said things are going to be okay, you will get into college. Obviously, you made it to UCLA, so that's good. And then what I liked is you returned to the emotion, you said, and that's why I felt warm. So you reminded the audience what emotion you were communicating. So that went well. The second emotion was sad, and you told briefly the story of her trying to surf and it not working very well. And here you told the story about not knowing what to do with your life and what major to study. And you felt hopeless because you didn't know how to make a decision about that. So that was pretty good. It was a little bit of a stretch between not choosing a major and losing an arm, but I still get what you were trying to do and say there. On your third emotion that you were practicing communicating to the audience was powerful. And here you had a short story about her practicing, and you related it to the story of you, stay in the power stance, playing volleyball and not being able to do what's called the upper hand serve. This is this way, right? And so you took it upon yourself to practice and to work hard, make your arms sore, and master the upper hand serve. And what you needed to do is return at the end of that story and say, and that's why I felt powerful after I overcame that fear. See? Your summary was good, your conclusion was fine, and your tie back was good. You said it kept her going forward, and you related it back to your definition of courage. And most importantly, you were within the time limit, so you did a nice job. Thank you. Move your arms more next time.
20.
Yeah, it's gonna be, yeah, we'll just leave a little light above her head. Don't cut the top of it off. Okay, she's managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes in the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Let life be beautiful like summer flower, and death be quiet like autumn leaves. This grand declaration flew out of Tagore 100 years ago. However, in another place on the earth, somebody made this declaration by his life, and that somebody is the main character of the film For While My Concubine, Ye Yi. Today, I'd like to share with you this film that really moved me. It made me feel sad, it made me feel inspiring, and inspired me. The article Behind the Red Curtain interprets this film as an epic hit letter to the theater. However, I really disagree. It can never be a hit letter, but the highest respect, since the main character Jie Yi spent his whole life performing, living, and loving the opera and his male partner in the opera. And this is the significant theme. I know you will be interested in it. And I will introduce. The movie really moves me in many ways. The first way it moves me was that it made me feel sad. The incident it made me feel sad is when Jie Yi's partner Xiaolou found himself a wife and wanted to leave Jie Yi and his opera career. However, they used to take a vow that they will be partners for a lifetime. That reminds me of my friend and her girlfriend. They had been together for 3 years. Although they endured years of suspicious and misunderstanding, but they had become an important part of each other's life. However, when her girlfriend's mother realized the relationship, the girl had to quit. When I know that, I feel powerless, I feel sad. Yes, they want to be normal and they want to be accepted by their family and society. But what about love? Does being accepted really means they need to abandon the love between them? I doubt that, and it made me feel sad. The second way it moves me is that it made me feel awe-inspiring. And the incident that made me feel awe-inspiring is when Jie Yi killed himself when he was playing opera at the end of the movie. The reason it made me feel awe-inspiring is because that reminds me of my dancing experience. I am a big fan of dancing, especially Chinese dance, which requires a great flexibility. However, practicing flexibility is really painful and sometimes boring. Therefore, when my homework is heavy, I will quit the class. As a result, I have a bad performance when I'm doing the dancing items. I understand that, but I just lazy. Nevertheless, Jie Yi's attitude towards what he loves really shocked me. He not only loves it, goes for it, he even ends his life with it. This firm heart is a heart for what we love, a heart that I should learn to have, and a heart I feel awe-inspiring for. The third way this movie moves me is it was that it inspired me, and the incident it inspired me is when Jie Yi rejected to perform girl and say the lyrics. By nature, I am a girl, not a boy. For his boss, however, his partner Xiaolou burned his tongue and made him say the lyrics. This show, the boss judged, people must learn to fulfill themselves. And the reason this inspired me was that it reminds me of my experience in Singapore. I used to go to Singapore for study all alone. At first, being in a foreign country without acquaintance with language barrier and cultural barrier is really a hard time. I feel lonely, I missed my old friends, and locked myself in the social media world. And however, when I got home to see my friends, I found that although they still love me, they had been used to living in a world without me. I suddenly understand the only person who lived in the past is me, and it's time to begin a new life. Therefore, I started to make friends in Singapore, try to make myself more and more outgoing and caring for others. And now I've got my lifetime friends in Singapore. Just like what Ye achieved after he singing the lyrics, what I got after I opened myself. Sometimes people must learn to fulfill themselves. And today I have told you the three ways the movie moved me. It made me feel sad, it made me feel awe-inspiring, and it inspired me. There should be no doubt in this room that this movie really moves me, moves people, and makes people think. Ye lives his crazy but significant life. Ye loves his partner and the opera for a lifetime. Leave a legacy. Ye spent all his life performing the opera for While My Concubine, living faithfully like the concubine and blooming into the most beautiful flower in the summer. When he died silently like the autumn leaves at his best time, the time he was playing the opera. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that was 6 minutes, so you went over time about 2 minutes. So you need to time it next time and keep it down to the 4. Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Emily.
Hi, Emily.
I enjoyed your speech. It sounded like it was a serious topic, so you took it to heart. I really enjoyed particularly that despite the fact that you have a soft voice on certain powerful statements, you definitely articulated those ideas more clearly, and it was nice when, like, for example, you said, I disagree, and you emphasized that with your voice, and it was subtle, but it was nice.
Yeah, you do have a soft voice, and so you'll want to work on projecting more and booming out to the audience. You can still have a soft part in contrast times when you're quoting poetry and the autumn leaves and so forth, but you'll want to work on a range with your voice, okay? Let's hear from some improvement.
Hi, I'm Liana.
Hi, Liana.
I liked your speech. It was really well organized, but yeah, like they said, the only thing was projecting your voice and raising the volume a little bit.
Yeah, you had to kind of lean in to hear her, didn't you? Yeah, people had to lean in to get it, and that's, you don't want to have that. Let me talk about your speech. You started with a beautiful poetry quote about let life be beautiful like summer, flower and death like autumn leaves. That was very nice. And you had a good thesis preview that told the audience where you were going to go and what you were going to do. The significant statement, your quote, I didn't really get where it came from. Did you say who the writer was and where the source was? Say that in your, like say the New York Times, Janice Madeline wrote. So it builds up the credibility of the quote. You did say you disagree. That was good, because you didn't think that it was really that negative and that bad, right? Yeah. So let's talk about your storytelling and how that went. I think the big comment I'll make about all 3 of your stories is you could have picked up a lot of time by a shorter summary of the movie plot. You don't need it. Just do 2 sentences. Okay? Just make it short. Your first story was not about you, but about a friend who had a boyfriend, and then the mother said, this is serious, get him out of here. And you were sad for her, right? And so you had that empathy, and you returned to the emotion of sad. And I felt your sadness, although it was softly spoken. But the way to communicate emotion is what I call felt sensing, is remember the emotion you felt at the time when the mother told Romeo to go away and told Juliet to leave Romeo alone, right? And that made me feel sad. Remember your emotion and then communicate it, okay? On your second story and emotion was awe-inspiring, and you had kind of a long plot summary, but you talked about the fact that you quit dance and that you gave up on it and you didn't do your flexibility training, you weren't very good at it, and you felt a contrast with the character in the movie who didn't quit, who gave their whole life to dance, and so you were inspired by that. So that came through. That was kind of an interesting point. On your third story about being inspired, again the plot summary was a little bit long, but you talked about going to Singapore and being lonely and not knowing anybody and not having friends and that sort of thing, and then losing yourself in what you called the video games or social media or whatever you did. I don't know what you did. Something like that, right? Yeah. And then you returned to your home to find that your friends had moved on and that you needed to make new friends in Singapore and start a new life. That was pretty good, pretty subtle. And I wanted you to return to that emotion of inspire, so it was clear to the audience that you were communicating inspire, see? Then your summary, your conclusion, and tie back were all fine, just a little long. Your goals were to make people feel inspired by your words, to have people know your feelings, and to make people want to watch the movie. How did it go?
If they like my speech, then they will be interested in the movie, as I told them, and they will want to watch.
Right, it sounds like an intriguing movie. I think, is it on Netflix or?
You can find it on the YouTube, I think.
YouTube. Oh, okay, good. Okay, well, Elizabeth, you did a nice job. Just work on a few things and you'll do better next time. Thank you. Hi. How you doing?
Good.
That's good. Okay, she's managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel a little love. Start your speech.
Charles Perrault once stated, "The love of family is much more important than wealth and privilege." The movie Click completely represents this quote, as it shows a hardworking businessman, Michael, start to lose interest in family when he uses a universal remote to control his life. It seems at first that the remote is beneficial and easy and helpful, but as time passes, he doesn't really care about his family anymore and eventually faces a downward spiral in his life. The movie really moved me because it told me how family is so important and it's not something that should be a minimal part of your life. It made me feel happy, it made me feel upset, and it inspired me. Movie critic Kevin Murphy says that the movie Click suffers from an identity crisis. However, I completely disagree. The movie is simply a comedy drama, and it's something that anyone can relate to, because at one moment you'll be smiling and the next you'll be crying. So this film really moved me. The first way it moved me, it made me feel happy. I felt happy in the film when you see Michael spend time with his family at a lake house. You see the whole family together, and they all love to just be together. And as they spend time together, they're laughing and just having a good time. It reminds me of my family, and when we would spend time together for the Jewish holidays. On my dad's side, my family has 12 grandchildren, 4 children, and then my grandparents. So it was a lot of people together, but I loved the smell of the latkes burning and getting presents on that holiday and just remembering times with everyone. So that's why it made me feel really happy. The film also made me feel really upset. It made me feel upset when you see Michael's life go on a downward spiral. You see Michael start working so hard that he loses interest in his family, uses only the remote to control his life, and eventually dies from a heart attack. but only once he realizes that his family always was there for him. It made me feel so upset because I pretty much saw what was happening in my life on the screen. My father worked a lot, and it was really difficult not to see him, but due to his job as a partner in a firm, he really needed to work every day. However, he got Parkinson's disease and eventually had to retire. From his retirement, he got a depression and got a gambling addiction, really tearing apart my family, and we couldn't ever be together again, and now I barely ever see him. It was difficult to see that all my siblings and my mom were so hurt from what happened, but all I knew is that I could get past it and I can only forgive him. And that's why I just felt so upset when seeing this part. The movie also made me feel inspired. I felt inspired when you see Michael change his way of life. Right after he dies, he wakes up in the Bed Bath & Beyond where he bought the Universal remote, and he decides that he'll throw it away and return to his family and really love them once again. It made me feel inspired because the same thing happened with my brother. Well, maybe not the same, but kind of similar. My brother was what someone would call a loner in high school. He sadly did not talk to anyone and was obsessed with his video games, especially World of Warcraft. Luckily, he decided that when he went to Santa Barbara City College that he would completely quit the games, he would restart his life, try to be more social, and now he's working at Ernst & Young, a great business firm. That's why he completely inspired me, just like Michael. So this film really moved me in 3 ways. It made me happy, upset, and inspired. Anyone can learn from Michael that family is the only thing in your life, and it's just what will always be there for you. You see that money can be gained or lost, but a family's love is infinite. Thank you.
Thank you. That was 3:39, so you were well within time. Maybe you can slow down a little. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Kingsley.
Hi, Kingsley.
I pretty like this page. You put a lot of emotion into this page, and you talk about your personal experience, which is really related to the film itself.
Yeah. Took courage to talk about our father and his downward cycle, and that was something, the kind of thing that could come out in a personal commitment speech, because we don't normally share those kinds of things with people we meet on the street and stuff, do we, Tinker? Yeah. Improvement.
Hi,
Hi,
Elizabeth.
Well, actually, I like your speech. You are quite natural and you have emotions in your eyes. I can feel it. And your speech is well organized. I'm nothing to say.
you were perfect. Okay, let's talk about your speech, Brianna. You started off with a Charles Kuralt quote. In case your audience doesn't know who Charles Kuralt is, a famous writer, CBS correspondent, that sort of thing, let them know so it's not just Joe Blow said something. The love of family is much more important than wealth or privilege. And you segued from your quote and nicely into your description of the movie Click, and the remote control as a metaphor was a very interesting thing to work with. You said it made you happy, upset, and inspired you, so your preview was good. Brianna, for your significant statement, you said the film depicts intense scenes such as love for one's family, and you want to add that I think all of you will be interested in it. So do a little selling of the themes to your audience. That's what the significant statement does. Kevin Murphy's quote, and where was it? Was it in the New York Times, or where was it in, Brainy Quotes, is that? No, that was Charles Perrault.
Scholarly article for this movie.
So you found it in entertainment off the Google internet? Bah humbug. Okay, yeah. There actually probably was some, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so say where it came from, and you did say he was a movie critic, and you did say you disagreed, so that was fine. And you got there with 57 seconds, so you did your setup nicely and succinctly. Let's talk about your storytelling. your first emotion that you were trying to communicate to the audience was happy. And you gave a very brief summary of the film plot, and that was good. And then you went into a reminiscent of your family and your large extended family and how they get together at Hanukkah and the smells, and you gave us good word pictures that you truly were happy when you celebrate Hanukkah and other family events and your family is around you. And you said at the end, click reminds me of those times, and you needed to add that I felt so happy. So communicate the emotion that you're trying to share. On the second emotion, you said you were upset, and this was where you talked about your father who had Parkinson's and became depressed because he had to retire and got into gambling and had his life go into a downward cycle. Now, what I needed to have you do more of, because that, just the story in and of itself is pretty emotional and pretty bad, but I needed to have you remember a little bit more of your upsetness as you watched him disintegrate and disappear, and how upset you were by that, and maybe even tear up a little at that, at losing your father. That would have been more effective. So the story was good. It was a good choice. It took courage for you to communicate it, just a little more emotion in the presentation. On your third story, and the third emotion was inspired, and I laughed when I saw the movie with the way Bed Bath & Beyond got product placement in this movie so prominently. You even quoted Bed Bath & Beyond too. It's kind of funny, they're getting advertisements in a college class. But anyway, you said you were inspired, and you told the story of your brother who was a hopeless addict to the world of witchcraft or something, or war of witchcraft or something, a video game of some sort, I guess you were saying. And then he evolved and went to Santa Barbara City College and decided that he would give up and get better grades and get a job, and he changed, he evolved, and you saw somebody change like that, and that inspired you. So that was a good story, and that worked well. Your summary was fine, your conclusion was fine, except for your little thing on your quote, was all good, and your tie back to the Perrault quote was done well. Now you said your goal was to be passionate, enunciate, and stand straight. How'd it go?
I think it went well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think what I'd like to see, if you could move 3 times, it will relax. We'll go over that way, over here a little bit more, and then come back to center on your third emotion. So don't be afraid to move. Don't be stuck, and keep your hands, by your side. Let them be free and move free. But overall, you did a nice job. Thank you.
Anyone else have to go?
Yeah, she was going to go, but you can go. You have Home Street ready yet? Next week, okay.
I
We'll
will
look
go.
forward to that, okay. Yeah. What do we have for you?
Good.
Yeah, we're good.
Hi, I'm Caitlin.
Wait a minute, she's reading back there. Have everyone's attention. If someone is texting or do something, just go, clear your head. Okay, try it again, Caitlin.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Caitlin.
Hi, Caitlin.
So has anyone here heard of the popular blog Humans of New York? Anyone heard of it? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, it's a series of interviews conducted by one photographer, and he just talks to people on the streets of New York. So there was one that stood out to me. It was of this elderly woman, and she was interviewed about the death of her husband. And she said, while he was dying, she asked him, "How am I supposed to go on and live without you?" And he responded, take the love you have for me and spread it around. And today I'd like to talk to you about a film that brings this idea to life, Disney Pixar's Up. It made me feel sad, it made me feel nostalgic, and it ultimately warmed my heart. So, the LA Times critic Kenneth Turan said about this film, "Though Up does so many things so well, the quality that sticks with you longest is its fearlessness in the face of emotion. This is a film that will restore your faith in anything that needs restoration." So, I completely agree with this. I think it deals with very serious ideas of loss and death that we all will ultimately have to deal with at some point in our lives, very gracefully and in a way that's ultimately very uplifting. So the first way that this film moved me is that it made me sad. And the incident that made me sad is when, in the beginning montage, when Carl and Ellie are falling in love and getting married and getting older, Ellie finds out that she has a miscarriage. And this is done without any spoken word. She just sort of is pictured in the hospital crying after she finds out that she's pregnant. And this made me sad and upset because it reminded me of when my own mother had a miscarriage when I was 4. And it has always stuck with me, and at the time I didn't really understand what was going on. I didn't know I'd never even heard of what a miscarriage was at the time, so I was kind of clueless about this subject. But as I've grown older and had experiences with my friend's siblings and my father's siblings, he has 4 siblings, so he has a big family, and it just reminds me constantly that I have this gap in my life that I will never know what it would be like for it to be filled. And I sort of mourn for my sister that could have been, and it's become more and more prominent throughout my life as I realize all the gaps that she would have filled. So that's how it made me upset. And the second way that Up moved me is that it made me feel nostalgic. And the incident that made me feel nostalgic is when, at the end of the film, Carl has to realize that his house is not the same house that he started with. It's basically destroyed. And the reason that this made me nostalgic is because it reminded me of when I had to say goodbye to my house that I grew up in when I was, I think, about 12. It was like 7th grade. And this was sort of hard for me at first to move into a new house. It was in the same city, but it was just a different home. And I felt a sentimental connection to the house that I grew up in because I had so many memories there. I had so many first experiences. And I thought that saying goodbye to the physical house would mean saying goodbye to these memories. And as I moved into my current house, I realized that nothing had changed. I was just in a different location, and I had access to all of the good memories that I had made in my old house. And this sort of connected with Carl's experience when he says goodbye to his house. He realizes that all of his memories with Ellie are still there, even though the house is gone. And so that's how it made me nostalgic. The third way that Up moved me is that it ultimately warmed my heart. And the best example of this in the film is when they meet Doug, the talking dog, for the first time. And this reminded me of when I first got my puppy. His name is Hudson, and he's a golden retriever also. My boyfriend and I actually adopted puppies from the same litter, so they're brothers. And I had never met or seen pictures of the puppy that I was going to get. And I just remember I was so excited on the way up to get them. It was like an hour drive, and I couldn't sit still like the whole time. Because I had lost a dog when I was, I think it was 8th grade, also a golden retriever, and that was very hard for me. So I was very excited to get a new dog. I really missed having a dog. And Hudson's personality is very similar to Doug, the dog from Up. They're both very animated, just loving. And although this was very different from my old dog, it reminded me that with every loss, there's an opportunity for a new beginning. And it might not be different, it might not be a replacement, but it's just an opportunity to move on. So that's how it ultimately warmed my heart. So in summary, I've told you 3 ways that Up moved me. It made me upset and sad, it made me nostalgic, and it ultimately made me very happy. So there should be no doubt in this room that Up really moves me. And in the film, Carl brings the idea of spreading his love for Ellie around to life. And this is a reminder that there is hope after you lose something and it's so tragic. There's always a new and positive way to start something. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that was 4:44, just a little bit over time, but good. Where are we? Yeah, what do you like?
I'm Anna.
Hi, Anna.
I like your speech a lot. It was well structured, and I also like it was a very serious topic, but you also made me smile with your speech, so it was a very good balance between seriousness and like it was still very uplifting.
Thank you, Anna. Let's go here.
So, hi, I'm Amelia.
Hi, Bill.
Amelia.
Amelia Earhart, like the flyer.
So we actually talk about the same film, but I feel that you have different experience as I had, like to get you beginning. And I like your speech, and I think there are many storytelling and with details like the dog and the name of the dog, and also I think maybe one way you have to improve is to be more relaxed and put your hands down. Yeah. And I think you really project your voice well.
Thank you, Amelia. Caitlin, yeah, let's talk about your speech. You chose a great film. I hope a lot of people have seen it. It's a very uplifting movie. And so that, I think, helped. And I think it helped that it was pretty popular and people saw it. So that was good. You started on kind of a sad note about the blog Humans of New York, and the elderly woman was talking about her husband's death, and while her husband was dying, how could she live without him? And he responded, "Take the love you have for me and spread it around." And I thought that was good. You know, many times a spouse in later years that have been together a long time, they don't last a long time after their spouse. I don't know if you've ever heard that or seen that. They just lose their will to go on and to live without their spouse. So this was an interesting sort of conversation that they had about keep it going and carrying it on. So that was good. Your thesis preview was fine. Your sixth statement and your quote from Kenneth Turan of the LA Times was good. And yeah, it was a very favorable review, and as I think it should have been. On the three stories and the emotions, you were very brief with your plot summary, which I liked very much. Your first story was when you were talking about your mother having a miscarriage and you missing a sister or a brother or something that could have filled a void in your life, which was kind of a sad thing to talk about, and I could feel your sadness about that, and you elaborated on that, and that was kind of a private, so it was very authentic, and so that was good. On your second emotion, we're trying to communicate nostalgia, and that's kind of a tricky one to communicate because it's a little vague. But you chose to talk about living in an old house and moving to a new house, and initially not liking to move, and then remembering that you always have the memories of the old house, and so that worked out pretty well, and I guess I got nostalgia out of that. I want to come back to something in a minute, but on your third story, you said that your heart was warmed, and you talked about your dog, Hudson. I happen to own a Hudson automobile, so I like that name. And you talked about this emotion you're trying to communicate is happiness and warming your heart, and we really got it. You gave us the details of the dog's name, about how you met it, how excited you were to go there and pick it up and that sort of thing. And so that emotion was well communicated. Your summary was fine, your conclusion was fine, and Your tie back to the blog of New York and the little story you told in the beginning was good. You want to use less fillers to spread out your eye contact over the whole room, 3 to 5 seconds, and to keep your volume constant. How'd it go?
I thought it went well. I think I used the word a lot less.
Yeah.
But I still think I can improve on that even more. I noticed I found myself saying it like without meaning to. So.
Right. It becomes a habit, a filler.
Yeah.
And if in practice with a human being as opposed to a mirror, when you do practice, you ask them to raise their hand every time you say or like. Another big one that drives me crazy in this day and age is people that use like excessively as a filler. That drives me crazy. You had your film review here. You did everything right, and you were just a little over time, but you did a nice job. Thank you. Okay, any more film speeches? Okay, give yourself a round of applause. Yay, good film speech. Okay, do we have any volunteers for the PC? Someone want to get it over with? Okay, great. I was going to say the other alternatives we could, just to break the ice a little bit, to have a little change up, we could do a couple of intros. We'll do a couple intros. Are you ready to introduce yourself? No, next week. Boy, next week's going to be a full week for you. So let's see, who's got a study buddy in the house? You can go quickly and do it right here. Okay, good. Let's do it. Let's do the intro real quick. Make sure that they're short and sweet. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay. You can take a step forward. You're a little far back from your audience. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah. She's managing attention, communicating respect non-verbally, finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily.
Hi Emily.
So today I'm going to be introducing to you my study buddy. Her name is Brianna Wanger, and I will be telling you today how Brianna is a constant ray of sunshine. So I doubt that any of you can go on the 405 freeway, sit in tons of traffic for 45 minutes every Tuesday and Thursday, and come to class with a smile on your face. Genuine smile, no faking it. Brianna does this every time we come to UCLA. She sits in traffic all the morning before the sun comes out, and she has that smile on her face. So today I'm going to be telling you 3 events from her past, present, and future that convey how Brianna is such a ray of sunshine. So, from her past, I'm going to tell you about how Brianna first came into the world. When she was born, she came out with wide open eyes. And her dad was a little freaked out because, you know, such big eyes, he thought maybe she had Down syndrome because, you know, her brother has had autism and there's a similar look there, but thankfully she came out 100% healthy and happy. So, starting with that scare, she gave her parents a little shock, but she was all right, and she had these open eyes, curious about the world. Next, I will be telling you about how she leads her everyday life. Brianna drives to UCLA. I actually carpool with her, and she mentioned how one day she was driving, and a bird just rammed into the window. She didn't see it coming. It ran towards her, flew toward her, and it just knocked out. So she was a little shocked, but she kept her cool, she kept driving. And so this sort of represents how no matter what comes her way in life, she's going to keep driving forward, even if it's a bird hitting her car. And the next event I will be telling you about is how she plans to pursue her future. Brianna is a very serious dancer, and she recognizes the competition with pursuing a dance career and how difficult it is for struggling artists, particularly dancers, to make it today. So she's been honest with herself, and she wants to pursue a major in possibly communications, maybe forensics, but she wants to continue dance as a hobby. She knows that it's difficult, and she's realistic about her goals and expectations. So she knows that she can pursue her passion as a hobby while still maintaining a financially stable career. So I feel like these three events really exemplify how Brianna is a constant ray of sunshine today. She, from the moment she came out into the world, had open eyes, curious as to what was going on around her. And no matter what comes her way, she will keep driving forward. And towards her future, she's honest and she is serious about what she wants to do with her life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you Brianna Winger.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Erica.
Hi,
Erica.
I thought you did your speech really well. You seemed really confident up there, and you didn't use fillers and such, so.
No notes, it was extemporaneous, like we want to do it. Improvement?
Hi, I'm Alex.
Hi, Alex.
It's really hard for me to critique you because I think you're like one of the best speakers in this class, but maybe like less handle a bit, but you're fine, obviously.
Emily, you started with the 405, and so I would have liked to have come back to the 405,
Right.
and so had the bookend tiebacks so you know, you understand that concept. On the thesis preview, and the theme that you went to give was a ray of sunshine. I like that, and you repeated that numerous times, so we got your theme, and so that was good, and so that stuck, and that was good. On your three stories, Wide-Eyed, that was a good story, and you said her father was worried about her and talked about Down syndrome and other things, and that was long enough, and you got this within you were a little over time, but you got that done succinctly, and it was a pretty nice story. On the second story about her being independent and driving and a bird smacking into the window, and her showing a calmness in the face of adversity and not freaking out. I've been in situations where people got in accidents and they fell apart. What's my parents going to say? And all this stuff, you know. And so that was a good story. On the third story about her curtailing her expectations to be a dancer and being a little bit more realistic in her other things, that was pretty good. A little short, but to the point. Summary conclusion was okay, and the tieback needed to do this more. Yeah, I like your style of speaking. I would say vary the voice, and you want to have, did you have goals? No goals. Remember
I
to have
had
your
a
goals.
little paragraph of goals in there, but I don't think
Okay,
it was
it's at the
specific.
very bottom. Okay. You said you wanted to convey her positive energy, and yeah, you did that. That came through. So vary your voice, soft and loud, fast and slow. Make it more interesting to listen to. Okay? Thank you, Emily.
So,
Okay, yeah, you got it, everyone.
so I don't know if you guys know, but in our class we have someone that's going to be famous one day, and you should be really kind of nervous around her because one day she's going to be famous and you'll have to say, wow, I was in a class with her when she was a regular person. And and that is Emily Harari. I'm not sure if you guys know, but she's pretty much talented in all genres of life in itself. The athletics, she can run really well, the arts, she plays jazz and in wind ensemble. She's really smart, and she's really fun and outgoing, and just a good person to be around. So I'm going to tell you 3 events that happened in her life, in the past, the present, and future, that really describe who she is as a person. So although she seems practically perfect, she does have one fault, and that is being scared of needles. Because when she was younger and she went to the doctor, she was getting her blood drawn and sadly fainted because she's just terrified of needles. And that's just something she'll have to work on, but it's all right because it defines who she is, and that everyone should have faults, even perfect people. She also, in her present, has a really good artistic aspect to her. Her and her friend were working on a painting set, and they did it twice. Last year they did it, and it turned out horrible. But this year they did it, and they worked on this painting set for a little bit at our house, and it turned out amazing. And they didn't expect it to become so good. So it just shows that she really works on improving over time and really managing her skills and defining her artistic style. And that was just really great for her. And in her future, she is nervous because she's going in to take the SATs. And if you don't know, the SAT is changing its test this year. So in March, they're going to change the test, and no prep programs have any prep whatsoever to help these new students taking the new SAT for the first time. So she needs to get the score she wants before March, and that can be really stressful because this test defines kind of your application to college in a significant amount of ways. So as you see, she has her nervous fears, but she seems to always be strong about everything and be passionate about what she does. And that's Emily Harari. So ladies and gentlemen, I give you Emily Harari, and you should remember her because when she's famous, you'll be like, oh, I knew her once, and she was just a great speaker.
Thank you. 228. Okay, next.
Hi, I'm Alvin.
Hi, Alvin.
And I really like your speech. You're very vocal and you're very praising of your study buddy. So overall, great speech.
Yeah, Alvin, when you have a lot of respect and affection for the person you're introducing or talking about, and it comes through, it builds your credibility too. But she communicated that both verbally and non-verbally. It was clear that she's very fond and respectful of Emily. Improvement?
Hi, my name is Tom.
Hi, Tom.
I really enjoyed your speech. I really like you are introducing your study buddy as a perfect person who's going to be famous one day. And then, if I had to say something, it's just, I think, if you have more interaction with Emily, that would be even better.
More what?
Interaction with Emily.
More interaction with Emily. Okay. Good. Yeah, she's hiding over there in the corner. Let me talk about this speech. It was interesting. You started with a grabber, high expectations that she's going to be famous. I'm not so sure that's something for everyone to aspire to, but I could tell you meant it in a positive way, in a complimentary way. And in this era of fame, I guess that's appropriate. You talked about school life, music, band, and taking college classes and carpooling, and you kind of gave us a laundry list in the beginning to start out the speech. On the significant statement, you gave us a good statement that worked well. On your 3 stories that you told us about Emily, the story about being afraid of needles was a good story. Passing out, that was memorable and brief and to the point. You could have given a little more detail since you had about a minute left in your speech, so you could have given us a little bit more. What is a painting set? Is this for the movies? Is this for a play? What is it she's painting? It wasn't clear to me.
I think it was just like an art set that you can buy at a store for young children. And
you mean like you paint in the numbers?
Yeah.
I see.
Like that.
So is that what it was?
Yeah, something
I see.
like that.
Okay. So she did it. She did it twice, and the first time it was a disaster, and the second time it was good. Okay. And then you told us a story about her anxiety about the SAT, as if that's going to be the beginning, the middle, and the end of her life, which it's not. But young people think that way and think that it's the sine qua non of everything. So that's okay.
I think that's changed. It's shit. It's okay.
Yeah, okay, and then your summary and your conclusion was fine, and you tied back to her being famous. So that was good, and I guess we'll remember you if you're right. Your goal was to be interesting, passionate, and to enunciate well. How'd it go?
I think it went well.
Yeah, I think you got the job done, and you got it done within the time limit, so that was good. Thank you. Okay, that broke the ice. So we got another intro. Okay, then we'll shift back over to PCs after this one.
Oh, sorry. I thought you had
Wait.
Yeah. Okay, stands before you managing attention. They're talking, communicating respect non-verbally, finding friendly eyes near the front and center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hi, I'm Tinsley.
Hi, Tinsley.
Today I want to tell you about 3 stories about a determined New Jersey girl who loves situation comedy so much and who definitely will be the best producer of Emmy Award in the future, Leah Paco. When she was in high school, she loved fencing so much. So even though she twisted her ankle, she still attended the match. And very unfortunately, she twisted her ankles again during the match. In this situation, I would go back home and quit the match, but she didn't. She didn't give up. And guess what? She won the match at the very end. I feel so sad about her competitor because how come she still loses again when Leah twisted her ankle again and again? And the second story, last month, 2 of her high school friends came to her house and slept over. At first, they felt so weird because they didn't see each other in 6 months. But later, when they see the comedy shows, Friday Night Lights, and they start to chat together, and they have a very good time. So see the magic of TV shows. And as I said, she really loves TV show, and she will become the best producer in the future. And she will produce a lot of TV shows, which is very popular and make people think again and again. So maybe on her 30 years old, she will become the nominee of Emmy Award Best Producer, and around 40, maybe she will become the Best Producer of Emmy Award. And and on the stage of the Emmy Award, she will thank her brother, her parents, and every TV show she's watched in the past, and of course Tinsley. So I really look forward to it. And yes, these 2 determined future best producer is my starting body, Leah.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Daisy.
Hi, Daisy.
So I like your speech. You were really confident. You have good, hand gestures, and you have committed to your study buddies. So I thought you would know.
Yeah, I think there was a good rapport between them. Thank you, Daisy.
Hi, I'm Georgia Ray.
Hi, Georgia Ray.
I really loved your speech. You were very personable, and you could tell that you really liked your study buddy. If I could give you any suggestions, maybe it would be to have your eye contact a little more steady across the room.
All over the room in 3 to 5 seconds of eye contact. That would be helpful. Kingsley, I liked your speech. I liked the affection that you had for Leah, and that came through both verbally and non-verbally, so that was good. On your storytelling, you first told us she twisted her ankle during a fencing match. And then she twisted it again, and yet she still won. And I thought that really showed a strong determination to continue in the face of a lot of adversity. So you can add a little moral like that at the end of your story to, sum it up, okay? On your second story, you talked about the TV shows and staying up late and watching them and loving them, and that was your story. And from that you segued into that you wanted to be a producer in the future, and then you created a fantasy of how she'll thank Kingsley and Professor Miller, of course, and everyone else when she wins her Emmys. The only thing I would say is, as far as your narrative line is concerned, as you're going along, I would put in, first, I'm going to tell you 3 stories. Story 1, story 2, story 3. Make them real crisp and distinct. Your goal is to be more confident, to speak more smoothly, and I would say use your hands a little bit more. How did it go?
I can do better next time.
Okay, good. With more practice, and you will do better. Thank you. What's our number?
116.
Okay, we're doing well.
Pretty good, yeah. That's good.
Okay, I think we've got everyone's attention. Good.
Hi, I'm Leah.
Hi, Leah.
I'm sure you all have wondered over the past 4 weeks or so who this really fashionable girl is that has been sitting in the middle of the room. Well, it's Kingsley, my study buddy, all the way from Guangzhou, China, and UC Davis, where she's a comm major. Her love of fashion is so extreme that she'd rather be fashionable than comfortable, which I don't understand, because I'd rather just put on a sweatshirt and not just be really comfy. So, I don't know, we differ in that way. So I'm going to tell you 3 stories, one from her past, her present, and her future. So when she was about 7, she was taking swim classes, and she got to the swim class a little bit late. So she just changed really quickly and jumped right into the pool, only to see that the rest of the class was standing out of the pool doing exercises. To a 7-year-old, this was really horrifying, and she was really embarrassed, but she moved past it really quickly. So I really commend her for that. And then a few weeks ago, during finals week, she was biking to class, or biking to her final, and she was an hour before, so she had plenty of time, so she was going slow. But someone was really running late to their final, and was also biking, and crashed into her, and she fell, and she hurt herself. But because the person was running late to the final, she just kind of left her there, and just kind of left her in the middle of the street to kind of fend for herself. So people would walk by and see if she was okay, but she really wasn't. She was really upset, and she ended up having to walk herself to the nurse's office rather than having anyone help her. So she ended up being okay, and she made it to her final, and she still did well in her final. So that was really good. So she's good at moving past embarrassment, as we can see. And in the future, she wants to be a fashion magazine editor, which I totally see because of how fashionable she is. And she said that she'll be really mischievous at work and a little go outside the boundaries a little bit, but her boss won't fire her because she'll be really, really good at her job. So, she said. So now I've introduced Kingsley to you, and I know that myself and maybe some of you guys will go to her for fashion advice in the future, because I think I need it.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Erica.
Hi, Erica.
I really enjoyed your speech. I think your voice was really loud, and your energy and the way you were talking about your city buddy kept us all pleased.
Improvement.
Hi, I'm Lucas.
Hi. vary your pace. You know, it's kind of a nervous habit you have of you get nervous and you get flying. You started with a little bio of her being from China and coming from UC Davis and being fashionable, and you said, you know, I don't really buy this, but you know, that's what makes the diversity is what makes the world go round, right? So that was okay. The preview could have been a little more specific, but it was still okay. The SIG statement was good. Let's talk about your storytelling. The 7-year-old that jumped into the pool, fortunately it had water in it, was a good story, and she was embarrassed, and that came through. The second story about the bike crash and the other girl leaving her there to bleed to death on the highway and so forth, and her go to the health center alone, that was a good story. So that was vivid. On the future story about her, you know, messing with her boss's mind and that sort of thing, but she's going to overcome it all because she's creative. That was sort of well done, I thought. I liked how you ended it. You had a good summary conclusion and tie back. I know I liked the way you said, go to her for fashion advice because I know I need it. And I thought that self-deprecating humor was good and honest, and that was a nice humorous touch to end the speech with. You said you wanted to be confident, and as you and I have talked about this, you want to fake it until you make it, and so just pretend to be confident. And you said retell her stories well, and don't use like and so much. How'd it go?
I think I did a good job.
Yeah, and as I've said to others, when you practice, you have someone raise their hand when you're using and like excessively, you will get out of the habit of doing it. You did a nice job, Leah. Thank you. Okay, let's have one, we have time for, let's have a PC. I want people to begin seeing how they look and get in the habit of doing it. Do we have a volunteer for PC? Yeah, I know. I'm shifting to PC. Maybe you'll get a chance. Any volunteer for the PC? You still want to do it, Emily?
I think I should time myself a little.
Time yourself? Okay, let's have you and your buddy. Someone else summon up the courage to do their PC? Okay, you and your buddy. What are we rolling at?
125.
It's a miracle.
Yeah. I feel for the battery, but
1 hour thing, huh?
The battery might go out, but
yeah. Well, we're on borrowed time, so move it along. Who's going first? Gentleman's going first. Okay. He's managing attention, communicating respect, finding friendly eyes near the front and the center. Say your name, feel the love. Start your speech.
Hello, I'm Vincent.
Hi, Vincent.
Hi, Vincent.
I would like to start off by posing to you all a very deep and philosophical question. Why did the chicken cross the road? Who cares? My study buddy, Amelia, crossed the Pacific Ocean to be with us here today, all the way from Singapore. And for Amelia. I'm going to start today by telling you a little bit about her past, her present, and then her future. Now, she's actually really into traveling. She's originally from southern China, but she goes to a school in Singapore, the Nanyang Technological University. And you know, she was telling me about her host family. Well, they're not technically a host family because she didn't live with them, but like they kind of made her stay in Singapore a lot more comfortable. So now, from my understanding, the Chinese New Year, or the Spring Festival, is a really important holiday or occasion in Chinese culture, and it's really tough for a lot of people when they leave China and go to other countries. That like the other country, they don't really understand what it means to celebrate that. But in Singapore, there's a lot of Southern Chinese people that do celebrate that, and her host family invited her actually to celebrate it with her. There's a few differences, of course. Back in hometown, they had a huge spread of food, and they had, you know, like dumplings and like some sort of special pork soup. In the host family, they were really casual about it. They ordered pizza, they had fried chicken, French fries. It was a little bit different. Also, the host family, they were a family band too. The mom, the dad, the two sons. They had their own entertainment. So, but all in all, it was a very comforting experience for outside of her new country, or outside of her old country. And speaking of new countries, actually, can you believe she was only here for like a week before school started? You know, in that time, I think she actually did more interesting things than I usually do in a quarter. Now, she was staying in a hostel with, I think, in one room with 4 other girls when she first came here. And while she was there, she met this cool Brazilian dude named Matthew. He's a journalist for this IT company, and he was here taking pictures and making videos and stuff. She went with him and another friend of hers from China named Jack, and they went to hike the Hollywood sign. And while they were there, you know, they were taking pictures. Some of them were selfies, whatever. And they ran into this group of young American men, and you know, they recruited their help, you know, take some pictures, and you know, they got some pictures of both groups in the process, and they exchanged emails, sent them some pictures, and then a few days later, actually, Amelia got an invitation to a party one of the American guys was hosting, you know, and then so she took him up on the invitation, had some, you know, nice, wholesome, law-abiding fun, and came back before curfew. So yeah, she was pleasantly surprised at how that encounter went. In summary, I've told you a little bit about my. Oh no, sorry. No. After graduation, Amelia does not want to go straight to work. She wants to take a gap year actually and travel some more. She wants to go to Europe, Africa, the North Pole. She wants to, you know, teach small children, save the environment, stuff like that. She's actually part of this international youth organization. It's called Isaac, that does volunteering and stuff and internships globally. So she wants to take advantage of that after she graduates. Now, in summary, I've told you about my study buddies, past, present, and future. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Amelia, a person more interesting than a chicken.
Thank you.
Hi, Dina.
Hi, Dina, real loud. Now practice that loud voice of yours. Yell almost.
Okay.
Okay, good.
I think you did a great job with your speech. You knew more about the media, and I liked how you organized your speech and the stories inside.